It's not one size fits all, folks.
Right.
It's not. As a candidate, it's not one size fits all. As a hiring manager, it's not one size fits all. Everybody brings this unique blend of energy and enthusiasm and background and knowledge and hope and dream. They don't all fit the same mold.
Which brings me to another topic.
Yes.
The overqualified people.
Oh, yes. We're picking up here right where we left off in the last episode.
Do you? Don't try to think, oh, this is what they're looking. You have to be genuine to yourself. Otherwise, if you even get the job at that point, you're not probably going to have any longevity, if that's important to you.
And one would hope that there would be an interest in at least spending some time.
Which brings me to another topic.
Yes.
The overqualified people.
Oh, yes.
I remember several years ago, we were hiring several people for a team, and we had a lot of great candidates. We had very green people that their passion came through, green being inexperienced, but their passion came through in their resumes and their cover letters. And then we had people that were super, super qualified. Some would say way overqualified with more years of experience than most of us even had on the team. And there was one person in particular that I really wanted to hire. Super experienced. This was a lower level position. It was an individual contributor, and this person had been an executive director. I too have gone from being a director back to an individual contributor because I loved the work. So people make assumptions about why this overqualified person with all these years of experience would apply for an individual contributor job. And they're usually not good assumptions. And I said, let's at least interview the person and find out why. They might just be really passionate about the work. And we could get some great input from this person to help us build what we're trying to build.
You think about that. You've got people who are long in the tooth, like me, right? If I'm overqualified, that suggests that because I'm interested in being here talking with you.
Nobody forced you to apply for this job.
No. And if I am overqualified, you have this opportunity to consider what I might be able to do for and with you in a shorter amount of time than someone who's coming in and doesn't have that experience. But how does that make overqualification be a bad thing?
Right. At a certain age, I'm always going to be overqualified. And I have my PhD. Welcome to the club. I have my PhD. I've done a lot of very different things in my career. And for some people, that's super intimidating. I am not ever looking to come into an organization to steal your job. I want to come in and I want to have a positive impact on the culture and the people and the business results. That is it. And if I get to do that in a position that I am passionate about, like DEI, leadership development, talent management, why would you not want to hire me or someone like me? But, oh, you're overqualified, and then you're going to want to steal my job. That has been a theme much of my career because I am outspoken. I am well educated, and a lot of people just inherently get intimidated by that.
Yes.
But I never want to steal someone else's job. I've worked myself out of more jobs than I've worked myself into because I see efficiency and I see strategy. I had an interview at a very large company probably 7 years ago, and they were going to hire me. And I said one thing in the interview, and I questioned, if you look at this new strategy that we've been talking about, why do you even need this position? And the vice president called me a day later and she said, I hate to tell you this, we're not going to hire this position. She gave me a little consulting fee for it, which I never asked for because this was all through the interview process. I basically consulted my way right out of a job. But had I accepted the position, it wouldn't have taken me long to realize this job is superfluous and you could save yourself a lot of time and money by not having these people.
There you go. I mean, even turning down the opportunity to interview somebody who you see could be overqualified for the job, being able to gain so much by not hiring them. And think about it. Think about what if you are in a hiring position, think about the filters that you're applying to the candidates that come across your desk, your screen, wherever they're coming. There is nothing bad about deep knowledge. There's nothing bad about a passionate, caring individual. You, me, others, that all we want to do is give the best of what we have to make the difference and continue making the differences that we have been able to make as we've grown and learned and done and failed and succeeded and done some more. When I retired the first time, I didn't retire because I was done.
Right.
I retired because it was time for me to go out and make my kind of difference in the world, my terms. It wasn't a bad parting. It was, I'm moving on.
Yeah.
The second time I retired, it was the same, except a little bit different there because I had more to give, but their sponge was full.
That's a good way of describing what happened there. I was very mad at you when you said you were leaving. I was like, you were the reason I joined the damn team in the first place. And then she says, I'm going to retire.
Again.
We got a couple years in, but
yeah,
you know.
we did. And many more to come.
Yes.
So, but think about having somebody like Michelle or Carla on the other side of the table, bringing all that they bring. Oh, and if you got both of us on the other side of the table,
watch out.
Unapologetically successful.
Yes.
That's all you're going to get out of that.
For sure.
Okay. Sorry, that might have been a shameless plug, but
plug away.
DocShellie, Carla Lewis. Okay, so that overqualification thing has always, it's just confused me.
Yeah, I think I don't know, this is an unscientific, my thought. I think that a lot of people are intimidated by people with more experience than them, more knowledge than them. Very early on in my career, when I first started hiring people, I recognized that I need to hire people that are smarter than me in different areas. I'm a very intelligent person. There are some things I know nothing about, and there are some things I don't care to know about. And so I want to hire the people that can fill those gaps. And you think about the strengths that people have. Years ago, there was a notion that you had to be good at everything and you had to always shore up your weaknesses. And I have long been of the belief of keep working on your strengths. You can hire people for your weaknesses. I'll just use a super simple, silly example. I hate grocery shopping. Guess what? You can hire people to do that for you. You can go to Instacart or whatever other, most of these stores now have delivery. Mm-hmm. I don't mind picking out my items. I hate going to the grocery store. Hate it with a passion. I don't have to do it anymore. And how much easier is my life as a leader when I don't have to do that thing that I hate spending time on? It drains me. It exhausts me. And I can go, hey, this is something you love to do. You want to take this? It's a beautiful thing when you hire people that are different from you. And so many people want to hire people that look like me, that have the same similar education as me. Maybe they even went to the same college as me, versus looking at a diversity of thought, diversity of experience. It's fascinating to me. The mentality that goes into so much of this.
For whatever reason, that just triggered a really precious memory for me when I made my way into the organization we ultimately both shared time in. Mm-hmm. And I met with that awesome vice president. And she asked me 2 questions. And it's what ended up getting all of us transferred into her organization, I think. It was, are your skills and abilities being fully utilized? Mm. And the answer was no.
No.
And the second was, are you fully subscribed? Meaning, was I busy and involved and making a difference every day? And the answer was sadly no.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was such limit placed on what we could do in the organization from which we hailed. And at this point, you were not a part of the team.
Right.
But the three of us who came over were all a part of that same scenario. And so think about that. So if you're looking to be able to, I'm not good at these things. Do you know who on your team is? Do you know who you might be able to gather around you who could take care of that? This is about now we're going back now into the understanding and the expectations and assumptions and communication and declaring what is it we need, what is it we want, what is it we're having trouble with, and having good conversation about that. Not higher and lower, but an equal conversation. Understand the talents of the people you have. Understand how best to leverage them. And you've told a number of stories about, it's not one size fits all, folks.
Right.
It's not. As a candidate, it's not one size fits all. As a hiring manager, it's not one size fits all. Everybody brings this unique blend of energy and enthusiasm and background and knowledge and hope and dream. They don't all fit the same mold. But
exactly.
If you have seen in their resume, or you have seen in, again, whatever information you've got, that they're worthy of your time, you need to be open-minded about that and respectful of that, because what you said earlier, you're screening them as much as they're screening you.
Absolutely.
Know that.
Absolutely.
And if you're looking for an opportunity, candidates, know that. Know enough about the organization to which you are applying that you would be able to make a determination about, is this a group that is aligned with what they say? Do their words actually match
their actions?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I know that there's people that just need a job. Like I get that. But where you can take that beat and make sure that the job is something that you're interested in, you're passionate about, you can learn from, you can grow, and it's with a good organization that's going to treat you with care, it makes a big difference in how you go about your day. Huge difference.
Huge.
And I think, too, the other thing, going back to the rejection letters and the no thanks for playing, people are applying for hundreds of jobs before they land the one. It's taking 6, 8, 9 months, a year for people to find the type of work that they're looking for in many cases. And in that, you're going to get a lot of rejection letters. You're going to get ghosted. You're going to hear that you're not qualified. You're going to hear that you don't have the right skills. So in all of that, you also have to be your own advocate and keep your confidence level up, that you know who you are, you know the value you bring to an organization, and you do have skills and abilities. You just got to find the right match. And it's a daunting process.
Yes. Yeah. So how do you keep up your confidence? Where does the self-esteem start taking a hit? And what is it we can do to step back, recognize it, do what you have to do, mourn what you have to mourn, and then move on? What are some of your thoughts about that?
For me, it's not really much of a challenge. It's annoying to consistently hear we're moving forward with a candidate who has better qualifications. Well, what's better? Mm-hmm. What don't I have that you think you're looking for? I can check every single one of your boxes. So some of that language, I can see how it can really start to get in people's heads. I know I'm good at what I do. No questions asked. I've had enough feedback from people that say, you really helped me. You helped us. You did this. You did that. I know I am good at what I do. I'm not overly cocky about it. That is one area of my life I know I am damn good at. So I don't let those things get to me. But I see other people that just crumble when they get that email that says, you're not qualified, we're moving forward with a better candidate. Those words just aren't necessary.
They're not, well, they certainly aren't informative.
Yeah. I've screenshotted, I wish I had them ready to pull up, but I've screenshotted some of the things that I've seen on Reddit where people talk about how they got ghosted or the communications they've received. And I've screenshotted some of the ones I've received too. Because some are really well thought out, very respectful, very thankful for your interest in our company. And others are just like, you suck, get out. I mean, not literally, but that's the feeling you get from them is we were never going to look at you to begin with. Because we had to post an external job, but we're promoting someone from within.
Oh, yeah.
Or Bob's cousin applied and we're going to bring him over. So you can't let that stuff get in your head. Be confident in who you are and what you bring to an organization.
And so I'm sitting here and I've received 4,700 rejection letters and I need a job.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that doesn't start playing into some of this convince and compel.
I'm sure it does.
That as I'm getting anxious, that now, okay, well, maybe I'm just not selling myself well enough. It's not about selling yourself. It's not about that.
It's about engaging in the conversation. I have been told numerous times I'm a great interview. Even if I get the job or not, I consistently get feedback that I'm a great interview. I ask them questions. I ask them very thought-provoking questions. I share my own experiences. For me, it's more connecting with the people that I'm interviewing with or that I'm interviewing than it really is about, do you check every single box? You got here because you checked enough boxes. Because I always had people that screened the initial resumes, and then you'd get a handful of, here's 15, we're going to interview 10. So we would pick them. So I know, I've read your resume, but I want to know who you are, because do you fit with the team? Do you fit with the organization? Can you execute in a way that is not going to put people off? So that I want to know more. I read your resume. I know you could do the job.
It's about that interpersonal.
Can you build relationships? Relationships are important in the type of work I do. And so whether I'm interviewing or I'm an interviewee, I'm asking questions like, if you're my direct hire, what kind of leader are you? How do you prefer to communicate with your team? What kind of strategies are you looking at to build within the next 6 months? What are your top priorities? What are you looking for in a candidate? Because if you're looking for something that says, I want a yes man and I want a meek, mild employee, I am not your girl. So it's always fascinating when I ask that question, because it gives me a little bit more insight into what they're looking for. And that will help me decide, do I even want to continue the interview process? I've pulled myself out of interview processes because I thought, I don't want to work for you. I don't like how you showed up. Maybe it's a bad day, but I don't like it. I don't want to work for you. So I've pulled myself out because of the questions I ask. It's a conversation. They're not just interviewing you, you're interviewing them.
It's so important.
Always a two-way street.
It is. And being able to be prepared in that way. Understand, you are interviewing them. That whole company is represented by the one or two or handful of people that you will have the opportunity to engage with during the process. How consistent are they?
Right. One of my favorite questions to ask is, what does your best day look like here? And what does your worst day look like here? And the answers I get are sometimes very funny, but sometimes very thought-provoking, because they haven't thought about that in a long time.
What I can sense in the listeners that having a list of these kinds of questions would really be valuable, and maybe we could include that list in the show notes.
Yeah, it's important to be able to ask those questions. And I don't always wait till the very end, because a lot of interviews will say, we'll leave 10 minutes at the end for you to ask your questions. I ain't wait till the end to ask my questions. Like I'll say, okay, but as we're in the conversation, you fit those in. So many people do the behavioral interviews, right? Tell me about a time when. How would you handle this? And it's fascinating to me how many people will just jump to the next question versus, oh, I really liked what you said about this, or could you expand on this? So some people engage in conversations. Other people are sitting there with their little checklist and they're like, okay, question 1, good answer. Question 2, and there's no conversation. If that's a hiring team and those are my key stakeholders, those are not people I want to engage with. For me. For other people, that might be great. I like the people where they ask the question, I give an answer, we talk about it a little bit, and then I can interject another question. I get to interject a question. I don't have to wait till the end.
Because it becomes a conversation.
Yeah. Exactly.
A mutually respectful conversation. Where good listening is going on.
Yes.
And you're leaning in.
Where you're leaning in and you're doing all the things you know how to have a good conversation.
Many of which we've covered in previous episodes.
And it's respectful. You have to be authentic to who you are. You have to have some integrity in that. And obviously be truthful in your responses. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are Unapologetic Rabble-Rousers. If you like what you hear, give us a follow, give us a like, subscribe, share with your friends. I'm DocShellie.
And I'm Carla. Thanks again. Till next time. Think about having somebody like Michelle or Carla on the other side of the table, bringing all that they bring. Oh, and if you got both of us on the other side of the table,
watch out.
Unapologetically successful. That's all you're going to get out of that.